and Manomaya kosha. So I was just saying that preparing for this week and thinking about the mind and all the different directions we could go with our practices this week to address the Manomaya. And it felt a little bit like going into the biggest department store ever and trying to make, you know, a choice on one item. So that brought me to the very first sutra, which starts like this: Ata, Ata. That's how it starts. Ata. And Ata means now. Now. That's where the Yoga Sutras start. And essentially, that's where they end too. It's like when we culminate through our practices that the state of yoga, it's a state of nowing. It's a state of presence. So, so I thought we would work with now. We would practice nowing. The mind is challenging because the mind's job is to be busy, right? Like that's what it's programmed to do. It's programmed to keep us safe. So it's always on alert, sending its little, you know, radar out into the future and saying, what if, right? Let's see what might happen that might be a problem, might be a potential threat, or might actually get us, you know, more of what it is we need to survive, right? And we're going to base that assessment on what's happened back there in the past. So mind is always doing this little game between, okay, what's up ahead? Well, how does that match what's come before, right? You know, so when we feel like we've got mental whiplash, there's a reason. The mind's doing its job. So this idea of nowing is actually pretty revolutionary and contrary to the nature of the mind, which is why, you know, I love that the Buddhists say it's mind training, because, you know, our minds do need training to move it out of its samskara. The samskara is future, past, future, past, future, past. What's happening now is less important in some ways to the, you know, in terms of survival, to, okay, if we're okay now, we still have to be on the lookout for what might not be okay later. And how do we know whether it's okay later? Whether those circumstances are okay? Well, we have to measure it according to what we've experienced before. So the mind by nature is a comparative structure that's always looking at things in relationship to something else. This is better than that. This is worse than that. This, I like this, I don't like this, right? That's the nature of the mind. And then yoga says that the state of sukha, the state that brings us out of dukkha, is a state which is not comparing, which is not in the future, which is not in the past, but is really present. And we all go, yeah, I just want to be really present. But do you understand that this is like, to do that is going against hardwiring. So when people say, well, I can't meditate because I can't quiet my mind, it's like, yeah, exactly. That doesn't mean you can't meditate. It just means then you get to see how much of this is going on all the time, 24/7. When we're asleep, it's happening too, right? So Atha yoga anushasanam, the study, the discipline of yoga is the discipline of mental practice to experience now. And it's not easy, right? But that's essentially what we're being called to do every time we come to the mat. Can we just be here now?